Hello everybody. Today we're going to focus on underglazing our plates. And there's a couple things you need to do before you even start. One is glue all of your cutouts into your sketchbook. This is where we are going to keep track of the number of layers of underglaze and glaze that we have on our plates. You're going to want to do 3 coats of underglaze, and later on it'll also be 3 coats of glaze. Every time you put on a layer, you are going to want to write down, make a tick mark next to the plate that you put a layer on. So I did 1 coat of orange underglaze on this already. I'm gonna make a little line on in my notebook so I know, because if I stop today and I come back tomorrow, I am not gonna remember, most likely, how many layers I put on, and from looking at it, you probably will not be able to tell. So make sure you have a clean brush, which I cleaned this out before. I used soap and water. I've selected my underglaze, which is orange underglaze. Remember, you can tell it's an underglaze 2 ways. On the top, it says underglaze, and on the label, it says underglaze. If you have a question, please see your teacher about it. Also, they're located under the glaze on the counter by the sink. Okay. So your assignment is to do 50% of the surface of your clay plates painted with underglaze. So I've already colored mine. You don't have to do that, but I'm doing it so you guys can see. I'm gonna do the center, the outside, and the center, and that's about 50%. We're not gonna measure these, but do the best you can to get as close to 50% as you can. So make sure you load your brush nicely. You're gonna wanna be very neat as you do your layers. Don't be stingy with this. It's gonna look exactly like, if you paint it messy, it's gonna look messy when you get this back and it's been fired. And this is permanent, remember, these things, you can dig them up out of the landfill 1,000 years from now, and somebody can put them back together and look at what you've done. So be conscientious, don't make junk. You can see I'm being very neat about this edge, because it will show through in places underneath the glazes that you, depending on the glaze you choose. It will affect the color. And I really like these hockey brushes. They're Japanese style brushes that give you a nice even coat. Okay. So the big thing with this is I painted that one, then I went on to the next one. I'm gonna start the 3rd one. By the time you get to the 3rd one, the first one should be dry. You can see this one has just a little bit of shine on it. And I could really paint over that now if I wanted to. But it will definitely be ready to go once I get this one painted. I'm not gonna do that now. One of the things I wanna show you is that you do not want to put any glaze or underglaze on the bottom where the plate will touch the table. This is because there's 150 ceramic students, and I don't know when I load the kiln whether or not it's glaze or underglaze. So we don't want anything on there. So let's say you're putting underglaze on here and you blop. You're like, oh no, I made a mistake. I'm trying to do this in a hurry and I've just made a big old mess. You can, at this point, take a wet sponge, and even after it's dry, you can do this. You're just gonna wipe that away. Okay, so if you make a mistake, you can clean it up pretty easily. Also, this does not stain your clothes, so if you accidentally drop it on your shoes or on your clothes, you should be able to rinse it out. Just be careful when you pick these up. Don't carry it by the lid. Every year, there's at least 1 or 2 students who end up wearing about half a bottle of glaze. So carry the bottle like this instead of like this. You will wear it if you carry it like that, okay? So I need to put a tick mark by this 2nd plate so I don't forget. All right, so now I know I have 1 coat on my 1st plate, 1 coat on my 2nd plate. Also, I'm not glazing the bottom, and I want to do 3 coats of underglaze on 50% of each plate.